Hey, hello. Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is number 105. The movie I watched this time was Kitty Foyle, the first of two movies I watched on August 22nd, 2025, and I'm recording on the 23rd. Kitty Foyle was available on Amazon. I had to rent it. I had some credits. It was free. I think it was about $4 to rent, but I paid nothing. So Kitty Foyle, subtitled The Natural History of a Woman, is a 1940 drama starring Ginger Rogers, Dennis Morgan, and James Craig, based on Christopher Morley's 1939 bestseller, Kitty Foyle. Rogers won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her portrayal of the title character, and the dress she wore in the film became known as a Kitty Foyle dress. Directed by Sam Wood, who was the person that I believe took over. I think I just did this again on the Our Town one. Maybe he took over directing duties for Victor Fleming when he had to step out due to exhaustion on Gone with the Wind. Screenplay by Dalton Trumbo, which there was a movie based on starring Bryan Cranston. Produced by David Hempstead. Cinematography Robert DeGrasse. Edited by Henry Berman. Music by Roy Webb. Distributed by RKO Pictures. Release date December 27th, 1940. The runtime of 108 minutes. This was nominated for 5 Academy Awards: Outstanding Production, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Screenplay, and Best Sound Recording. Best Actress is the only one it won. I took only a couple notes for this one. Right off the bat, I wrote, "Don't love the premise." So the premise of the movie was that I'll read a little bit of the script of the plot here on Wikipedia because that will help me. Kitty Foyle, Ginger Rogers, a saleswoman in New York City boutique, faces a life-changing decision: marry her fiance, a poor doctor named Mark Eisen, played by James Craig, or run away to South America with a rich man she has loved for many years, the married Wynn Strafford, Dennis Morgan, who is about to leave his wife and young son. She's on the verge of choosing Wynn, and as she wrestles with her choice, the film flashes back to her youth in Philadelphia. So I didn't love the premise that she had literally just agreed to marry this man, this doctor. And then the doctor asks her, you're done with the guy in Philadelphia, right? And she says, yes. And then the guy from Philadelphia shows up in her room when she goes to pack to get ready to marry the doctor. And then it does. Like she basically agrees to run away with this guy that she's loved her whole life. And then the movie, they did some kind of cool stuff where like she's looking in a mirror and the mirror version of her starts telling her, "Are you sure you want to do that? You sure about that?" And then it flashes back and shows like Tarantino's it flashes back and then leads back up to where we started. So I hated the idea of this right from the start. However, Ginger Rogers, which I've seen in at least one other movie while doing this series of watchings, she was excellent in this part, and her performance won me over by the end of the movie. Now, did I love every part of this movie? No. Because one kind of funny thing is her father always says Judas Priest when he's, exclaiming. And so she does as well. And so the last wrote, the only other note I wrote was Judas Priest, they killed a baby. So at one point, spoilers, she does get pregnant with Wynn Strafford's son after she married him. And then she leaves, and then there's a whole thing where she leaves, and the baby doesn't make it. I wrote down out of wedlock, so I can't remember if they were married or not at that moment. But let me see if it says in here. So Wynn finally breaks down, finds Kitty in New York City, and proposes to her, presenting her with a family heirloom ring. She agrees to marry him on the condition that they not live in Philadelphia. When he introduces her to his family, she gets a chilly reception. She also learns that Wynn would be disinherited if he does not remain in Philadelphia and work in the family banking business. Though Wynn is willing to give up his inheritance, she decides that he is not strong enough to deal with poverty. She walks out and they are divorced. Kitty returns to New York City where she takes up with Mark again, but she soon discovers that she is pregnant with Wynn's child. Wynn arranges to meet her, raising her hope for a reconciliation, but they are dashed when she sees a newspaper announcement of Wynn's engagement to someone of his own social standing. She leaves without him and receives a further blow when their baby dies at birth. So that was, yeah. So she goes back. She had like gone on a couple of dates with the doctor guy and, wasn't entranced with him at first. Then Wynn shows up. They get married and everything and then divorced. And then she goes back, finds out she's pregnant, baby dies. And I was just like, come on. I just, that stuff just bothers me, like as a person. So, and there's a lot of like bleak stuff in these older movies. And, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I feel like things are too like washed over now, sort of the Spielberg effect of things. But when you're watching a lot of these old movies and it's like one after the other, it gets to be a lot. So, I did very much like the movie by the end. She was excellent. Gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. Yeah, it was very good. Not perfect. It was for me a complete turnaround from start to finish, to where my feelings towards it at the beginning to where they were at the end. So all in all, a good watch. And I'll leave it there, and we'll see you next time.